And breaking overnight, some big news. We have been covering it all throughout the morning.
We know one person, as we mentioned at the top of the hour, was shot and killed by police on the city's north side. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office says this happened just before midnight in the Oceanway neighborhood just north of I-295.
According to JSO, this all started when an undercover officer saw the man in a stolen car. Those officers followed the driver until they pulled into a driveway in this neighborhood. Then the suspect got out and ran off.
Now, JSO says one of the officers deployed his taser, at which point the suspect, we are told, then pulled out a gun. That's when the two officers at the scene fired multiple shots, killing that suspect. We want to get right out to our Faria Brar. She has been on the scene for several hours throughout this morning. She's going to be joined by our crime and safety expert, Ken Jefferson, in just a moment. But first, Freha, what's happening at this hour on that scene?
Well, like you just said, Keith and Brody, we've been out here for several hours at this point, and since we've been out here, we've been seeing JSO officers coming in and out of the backyard behind us where all this went down. But all of this led up as a result of a stolen vehicle being chased by JSO, and it ended here in the backyard. I'm going to be joined by our crime and safety expert, Mr. Ken Jefferson. Ken, we know from JSO that they first deployed a taser, and then once the suspect allegedly pulled a gun out, that's when officers shot him several times as a result. Can you tell people from your experience from being JSO with 25 years, what is the protocol going into using non-lethal versus lethal weapons?
Well, in this case, they were pursuing a person on foot. He's running away. They're running to him. At that point, he poses no threat to them other than he's just trying to get away from the police. So they will deploy a taser to try to slow him down and stop him so that they can properly handcuff him and take him into custody. However, when the taser doesn't work, or when, in this case, maybe he pulled out a gun based on what we're hearing being reported, he pulled out a gun, that changes the whole scenario at that particular point. That means that he's ready to shoot that gun and kill somebody. And the officers have to deploy their weapons to defend themselves as well as others. So lethal force meets lethal force. When they first started with the taser, that's a non-lethal weapon. That's not going to kill you. It's going to paralyze you for 5 seconds so the officers can properly secure you and bring you into custody. But when a gun is introduced, as I said, officers have to do what they have to do. They have to use deadly force to protect themselves.
And we did hear Sheriff Waters actually explain that to us a couple of weeks ago. We did a one-on-one with him. You actually can go to firstcoastnews.com right now to hear that. But he actually explained what goes into using force, especially deadly force, when it comes to these situations. And he said it's exactly that. It's when a suspect presents a deadly weapon, and then officers must do what they need to do to protect themselves and then the people around them in that neighborhood. Now, we do hear JSO also explain that this is the 4th officer-involved shooting this year. Just a few months ago, less than 3 months ago, actually in December, there was another officer-involved shooting that actually followed a similar story to this one. Officers say they actually saw a stolen vehicle, they chased into the area, and then that's when the person allegedly presented a gun, and officers had to shoot them there. Now, is this common in Jacksonville for stolen vehicles to be pursued by officers in this city?
Well, yeah, if they know that, if they have intelligence that there's a stolen vehicle and they verify that it is stolen and it's occupied, they're going to try to get the car, recover the car or the vehicle, and also the person that's driving or sitting inside of it. So that's a standard protocol. Yeah, you want to catch the bad guys and get everything involved with them as well as the car. They get information all the time about stolen vehicles, and while they're placing some places under surveillance or riding around in patrol or whatever, they'll run a tag that maybe kind of fits what they remember being stolen. They may have a partial tag or something, but when it comes back a hit, they're going to act on it. They're going to get their backup units to come and try to help them, because 9 times out of 9.5 times when they deploy their emergency lights, a person in a stolen vehicle is going to run, and it's going to end up in either a vehicle pursuit or a foot pursuit or both.
Something that JSO actually mentioned that was very interesting to me was the suspect actually has been switching the tags out on this stolen vehicle for several weeks now. When they first found it a couple weeks ago, they didn't chase the vehicle then because they knew that the suspect apparently had a weapon then. But for the suspect to change the tags out often, is that common for stolen vehicles to have that?
He obviously was very methodical with his thievery, if you will. He wanted to try to disguise the vehicles from police as much as he possibly could. That's a crime in and of itself. Just switching a tag out on a car is also a criminal offense, but the more serious offense is the auto theft in and of itself. So he was betting on himself that he wouldn't get caught by police by switching the tags out on the cars. But when police get information, and that's why it's so vitally important that the community continue to stay involved with giving information to the police, because what it's doing is improving your own community. When you help the police out, take these type of people off the street when they're stealing your property, your hard-earned property that you work so hard for. So he was trying to be clever to disguise the vehicles by changing the tags and switching the tags, and that's why it's good for every citizen just to check to make sure their tag is on their vehicle before you get stopped by the police and he tells you or she tells you that you don't have a tag on your car, because someone may be involved in some type of criminal activity and you don't want it to come back to you.
Those Crime Stoppers tips is what you're saying are very helpful for investigators to apprehend people like
Crime Stopper tips are good. They can call Sheriff's Office at 630-0500 direct, and they can still remain anonymous. A lot of people feel that they don't want to get involved because they don't want their names out there. Your name doesn't have to be out there. Just give the officers, the police, the information and let them follow up on it. You don't have to get involved with it.
See something, say something. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Ken, for your time. We sincerely appreciate it this morning. Now, we do know that the state attorney's office is investigating this situation. We'll keep you posted as we continue to learn more. Live in Jacksonville, Fariha Abrar, First Coast News, on your side.
Fariha, it looks like the scene behind you is still pretty active at this hour. I'm going to ask you if you could tell your photographer to give us a look around if you can, and tell us what's happening at this hour from your vantage point at this point.
I'm actually going to step away so you can actually look at it a little bit better. So officers are still on the scene investigating what all went down here. Now, we do know it all happened actually in a backyard. Can't see the backyard from where we are, but when we do learn more, we'll keep you posted. We do know that, again, a taser was first deployed, and then the suspect allegedly presented a gun, and then that's when officers shot several times, and he died as a result. So I will keep you posted as we learn more from the state attorney's office as well.
Fariha, I'm also curious because we see this is a residential neighborhood. We know that this chase was running after this suspect through people's backyards, over fences, basically through homes. Excuse me. I'm wondering if you can ask Ken, in what case do they call off a chase? Because we do hear those situations for safety. JSO officers will call off a chase. I'm curious, where does that play in, especially when you're in a residential neighborhood like this, and you really have officers shooting someone on someone's back lawn?
That's a great question, Brody. Ken, I'm actually going to make sure that you hear that as well. So Brody just actually asked, what is normally the call for JSO to end a chase? Is it something is there anything in the field, whether they're on the road or when they're out here chasing them on foot, anything that would stop them?
Well, if you're involved in the vehicle, if they're involved in the vehicle pursuit, they have to take a lot of things under consideration. Road conditions, weather, traffic, pedestrians, all those things are taken into consideration. And as you can imagine, it's a highly chaotic situation, or it could be a highly chaotic situation. So if they're pursuing someone and they're in and out of traffic, and there's a lot of traffic or there's a lot of people around, they'll call the chase off. At that particular time, get a real good description. If they're able at the time, because it's happening so fast, they'll deploy the air unit. And if the vehicle crashes or what have you, they'll get to that area, and they can easily deploy the K9 unit as well to sniff out the person. So it's a lot of factors go into when you're pursuing someone. If you're pursuing someone on foot, then you get a lot of ground units to help you. There's not too many restrictions there. The weather plays no role if a person is on foot. Traffic doesn't really play a role in it unless they're running in the middle of traffic and whatever. But they're going to stop traffic and they're going to get that person at that time.
That's a great point. It's about what the situation's involving, who it's involving, how many people are around,
Absolutely.
and then obviously the resources available. Thank you, Glenn, for clarifying that. Brody, I hope that answers the question a little bit for you.
Fariha, while you're there, if you can, let us know exactly where you are for those who are just joining us now on First Coast News Plus. You're following this deadly officer-involved shooting on the north side. Specifically, where are you? And let us know about any roads that may be blocked off at this hour.
So I think Crystal might actually be able to tell you about the roads blocked off, but I will tell you, according to Google Maps right now, I do know we're in the north side of town, but driving here, we were probably in like a quieter area. We were driving through the Eastport, San Mateo area, and then came to Oceanway. If you haven't been through this area, it's quite quiet around here. It's the best way to put it. It's not very busy. Not a lot of businesses really either. You have to actually drive about maybe 10 minutes away to get the nearest like CVS, Walgreens, Family Dollar. But it is, like you said, Keitha, it is a very residential neighborhood.
Thanks for that, Fariha. We appreciate it, folks. It's now 11 minutes past the hour. We'll be checking back in with Fariha in just a moment to see if anything develops out there. As she mentioned, there was a police chase overnight into the early morning there in the Oceanway neighborhood. One man was shot and killed. And we have our Ken Jefferson on scene as well. So we're going to check back in with them in just a bit.